Hello guys, how are you doing? This is Miss Sheerin and I'm here to teach you American English. Today's lesson is reading. So, let's begin. More classic tales. Chapter 1 The Frog Prince, Part 1. Once there was a princess who liked to sit under an old tree next to a well. She had a small golden ball that she loved to play with. She would toss the ball in the air. Then she would catch it in her hands. One day, she dropped the ball. It rolled into the well and sank. The princess looked down into the well. The water was so deep that she couldn't see the bottom. She began to weep for her lost ball. A princess tossed her golden ball. While she was weeping, a voice called out, "What is wrong, fair princess? Why are you crying?" The princess looked up and saw a frog sitting next to the well. She was surprised that the frog could talk, but she said, "I'm crying for my ball. It fell into the well." "Don't be sad," said the frog. "I can get your ball, but what will you give me as a reward if I help you?" "Oh, I will give you whatever you wish," said the princess. "You may have my dresses, my gems, even my golden crown." The frog replied, "I do not care for those things, but if you will love me and be my playmate, if you will let me sit at your little table, eat from your little plate, and sleep in your little bed, if you will do these things, then I will fetch your ball from the bottom of the well." "Oh, yes, yes," said the princess. "I will do what you say. I swear I will." But even as she spoke these words, she was saying to herself, "What nonsense this silly frog babbles! He sits in the water with the other frogs and croaks. He cannot be my playmate." The frog agreed to get the ball. The frog jumped into the well. He swam down to the bottom. Then he came back up with the ball. He plopped it on the grass. The princess was thrilled. She picked up the ball and skipped away with it. "Wait, wait!" cried the frog, as he hopped after the princess. "Take me with you. I can't run as quickly as you." It was no use. The princess ran away. The princess soon forgot about the promise she had made to the frog. But the frog didn't forget. The frog got the golden ball. The next day, while the princess was sitting at dinner with the king, there was the sound of something wet creeping up the marble staircase. It went plop, plop, plop. When it got to the top, it called out, "Princess, don't forget me." The princess ran to see who it was. When she saw that it was the frog, she shivered with disgust and ran back to the table. The king saw that the princess was upset. "What is the matter?" he asked. "Has some giant come to carry you off?" "Oh no," she said. "It's no giant. It's only a nasty frog. Yesterday, my ball fell into the well. The frog went and got it for me. I told him if he did, he could be my playmate. I didn't think he could come out of his well. But he's here. He wants to come and sit with me." The king spoke with a stern voice. "My child," he said, "you must keep your word. Go and let the frog in." The king told the princess to keep her word. Chapter 2, The Frog Prince, Part 2. The princess let the frog in. The frog hopped over to her and cried out, "Lift me up next to you." The princess didn't want to touch the frog, but the king looked at her sternly. So she leaned over and picked the frog up with 2 fingers. When the frog was on the table, he spoke to the princess. "Slide your plate over here so that we can eat side by side, like real playmates." The princess shuddered, but she slid the plate over. She was so sad that she couldn't swallow a bite of her dinner. The food seemed to stick in her throat. frog on the table, eating with the princess. After bed, the frog said, "I'm tired. Carry me to your bedroom, and I will sleep in your bed." The princess began to weep. She had found it hard to touch the frog, and harder still to eat with him. The prospect of sharing her bed with the frog was just too much. "I want to go to bed," said the frog. "Carry me there and tuck me in." The princess looked at her father. The king didn't speak, but his face said, "You must keep your word." The princess picked up the frog and set off for her bedroom. When she got there, she dropped the frog on the floor. Then she jumped up onto her bed. The frog wouldn't sleep on the floor. He hopped over to the bed and said, "Lift me up and let me sleep with you in the bed. Lift me up, or I will tell your father." "Lift me up," said the frog. The princess was angry, but she picked the frog up and set him on the far end of the bed, near her feet. There he stayed all night. In the morning, as the darkness was giving way to day, he hopped away. The next night, the frog came back. He sat next to the princess at dinner and ate from her plate. This time, the frog wouldn't sleep at the foot of her bed. "Let me sleep under your pillow," said the frog. The princess grumbled, but in the end, she let the frog slip under the pillow. In the morning, the frog hopped out of the bed. This time, when his legs hit the ground, something happened to him. He was changed from an ugly frog into a handsome young prince. The frog changed into a handsome young prince. The prince spoke to the princess. "You see, I'm not what I seem to be. I'm a prince. A wicked witch cast a spell on me and turned me into a frog. No one but you could undo the spell. Princess, I waited and waited by the well in the hope that you would help me." The princess was speechless, but her eyes sparkled. "Will you let me be your playmate?" said the prince. "Don't forget the words you spoke at the old well." The princess smiled and took the prince by the hand. The two of them went out to play. For years, the prince and princess were playmates and best friends. Then, when they were grown up, they fell in love and got married. A happy ending. Thank you a lot and see you next time. Peace out. Hello guys once again. Today's story is Chapter 3, The Fisherman and His Wife, Part 1. Once there was a poor fisherman who lived with his wife in a little old run-down hut by the sea. Every day, the man went down to the seashore to fish. One day, as he sat looking into the clear blue water, the man felt a tug on his line. He pulled and pulled with all his might. At last, out flopped a great big fish. "Let me go, I beg of you," said the fish. "I'm not an ordinary fish. I am an enchanted prince. Toss me back in the water and let me live." "Swim away," said the fisherman. "I wouldn't eat a fish that can talk." The fisherman caught a big fish. The fisherman went back to his wife in the little old run-down hut. He told her about the talking fish. The wife said, "You fool! That was a magic fish. Go back and ask him to change this old hut into a nice new house." The fisherman didn't want to go, but his wife insisted. So he walked slowly back to the seashore. The water was no longer clear and blue. It was dull and green. The fisherman called, "Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish." The fish swam up and asked, "What do you want?" "My wife wishes to live in a nice new house," said the fisherman. "Go home," said the fish. "She has her house." The fisherman asked the fish for a nice new house. The fisherman went home and found his wife standing in front of a lovely new house. "Now you will be happy," said the fisherman. She was, for about a week. Then she said, "Husband, I'm sick and tired of this tiny little house. I want to live in a much bigger house." "Go ask the fish for a bigger house." The fisherman saw the lovely new house. The fisherman walked to the seashore. The water had changed from dull green to dark gray. The fisherman called, "Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish." The fish swam up and asked, "What do you want?" The fisherman said, "My wife wants an even bigger house." "Go home," said the fish. "You will find her in a bigger house." "What do you want?" asked the fish. When the fisherman got back, he could hardly believe his eyes. There stood a much bigger house. "Now indeed you will be happy," said the fisherman to his wife. She was, until the next morning. The fisherman saw a much bigger house. Chapter 4. The Fisherman and His Wife, Part 2. When the sun rose the next day, the fisherman's wife poked him and said, "Husband, get up. I'm so bored with life in this tiny house. I can't stand it anymore. Go to the fish at once. Tell him that I wish to be queen of all the land." "But wife," cried the fisherman, "how much more can we ask the fish to do for us?" "Go and ask him," said his wife. So the poor fisherman walked to the seashore. "Go and ask him," said his wife. The water was brown, The waves moaned and splashed on the shore. The fisherman called, "Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish." The fish swam up and asked, "What does she want this time?" With his head hung low, the fisherman said, "She wishes to be queen of all the land." "Go home," said the fish. "She's already queen." "She's already queen," said the fish. The fisherman went home and found that his wife was the queen. She was sitting on a high throne studded with gold gems. She wore a long silk dress and gold jewelry. Servants were scrubbing the floor and bringing her food. The doorman stood by the door. "Now," said the fisherman, "you must be truly happy." She was, until that evening. As the sun began to set, the wife said, "Husband, I order you to go to the fish. Tell him he must give me the power to make the sun rise and set when I wish." The wife was queen of all the land. The fisherman walked back to the seashore. The water was black, thunder boomed, and lightning flashed. Huge dark waves crashed around them. The fisherman shouted, "Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish." The fish swam up and asked, "Now, what does she want?" The fisherman replied, "My wife wants the power to make the sun rise and set whenever she chooses." The fish only said, "Go home." "Go home," said the fish. The man went home. There, he found his wife standing next to the little old run-down hut. There they live to this very day. The fisherman and his wife with their little hut. So, we have finished our story today, and see you next time. Peace out. Hello guys, once again. Today's story is Rumpelstiltskin, Part 1, Chapter 5. Once there was a miller who had a beautiful daughter. She was so beautiful and so clever that he couldn't help bragging about her. One day, the miller found himself in front of the king. He began bragging about his daughter. He said that she was so clever that she could even spin straw into gold. "Can she?" said the king. "Well, then leave her with us. We will see if she can do what you say." The miller's beautiful daughter. That night, the king led the miller's daughter to a room filled with straw. He pointed to a spinning wheel and said, "Now you must prove that you can do what your father claims you can do. You must spin the straw into gold. If it's not done by morning, you will be put to death." The miller's daughter had a problem. She couldn't really spin straw into gold. She didn't know what to do. So she sat down and began to cry. As she sat crying, an odd-looking little man appeared. "Good evening, madam," said the little man. "Why are you crying?" The young woman looked up. "The king says that I must spin this straw into gold by morning, and I don't know how," she said. An odd-looking little man appeared. The little man came close to her and whispered in her ear, "Madam, what will you give me if I spin it for you?" "I will give you my bracelet," the young woman said. The little man held out his hands. The miller's daughter took off her bracelet and handed it to the little man. The little man put the bracelet in his pocket. Then he grabbed a handful of straw and sat down at the spinning wheel. "What will you give me?" asked the little man. The little man put his foot on the pedal and gave it a push. The wheel began to spin, and amazingly, a thin ribbon of golden thread began to emerge. As he spun, the little man sang a little song. "Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold." He spun, and by sunrise he had spun all the straw into gold. The little man spun straw into gold. At sunrise, the king came in. He smiled when he saw the room full of gold, but he wasn't finished with the miller's daughter. The next night, he led her to an even larger room full of straw. He told her that she must spin all the straw into gold by morning. If she failed, she would be put to death. The king's second demand. Again, the woman didn't know what to do. Once again, she sat down to cry. Then, in walked the little man. "Crying again," said the little man. "I suppose you have to spend all of this into gold too. Well, madam, what will you give me if I spend it for you?" "I will give you my ring," answered the woman. The little man held out his hands. The miller's daughter took off her ring and gave it to the little man. The little man put the ring on his finger. Then he sat down and began to spin. "What will you give me?" asked the little man. As he spun, the little man sang his song. "Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold." He spun and he spun, and by sunrise he had spun all the straw into gold. The little man sang as he spun straw into gold. Chapter 6 Rumpelstiltskin Part 2 At sunrise, the king came again. When he saw the room filled with golden thread, he smiled. But still, he refused to let the young woman go. That night, he led her to the largest room in the palace. It was filled from wall to wall with straw. "Spin all of this into gold in one night," said the king. "If you do this, you shall be my wife." The king's third demand. The king had hardly left the room when the little man appeared. He spoke to the young woman, saying, "Madam, what will you give me if I spend it for you?" The little man held out his hands as he had done each of the past 2 nights. But this time, the miller's daughter had nothing left to give the little man. "I have nothing left," she said with a sigh. The little man stroked his chin. "Well," he said, "if you can't pay me now, you will have to pay me later. When you are queen and you have the baby, you must give me the child." The miller's daughter didn't think that she would ever be queen, so she agreed. "What will you give me?" asked the little man. The little man sat down at once. He began spinning and singing his song. "Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold." The little man sang and spun straw into gold. By morning, the little man had spun all of the straw into gold. When the king arrived, he was overjoyed. Now he had all the gold he could ever want. The king kept his word to the miller's daughter. He married her and made her his queen. The king and the miller's daughter got married. A year after she was crowned, the queen had a baby boy. One day, as she sat rocking the baby, the little man appeared. "Oh, queen," said the little man, "I've come for the newborn child. Give him to me. Keep your word." The queen clutched her baby to her breast. "I beg you," she said, "don't take the child. I will give you golden jewels. I will give you all the wealth of the kingdom. But let me keep my child." No, said the little man. "You must give me the child. I would rather have a living child than all the jewels and wealth in the kingdom." The queen began to weep. The little man seemed to be moved by her tears. He said, "I will give you a chance. If, in the next 3 days, you can find out my name, you may keep the child." Saying this, he vanished. You must give me the child, said the little man. Chapter 7 Rumpelstiltskin Part 3 To keep her child, the queen had to find out the little man's name. She made a long list of names. When the little man came the next day, she began reading the names on her list. Is your name Andrew? No, madam, that is not my name. Is it Boyd? No, madam, that is not my name. Is it Conroy? No, madam, that is not my name. The queen asked the little man about names on her list. The queen tried all the names she could think of. She tried Louis and Dewey. She tried Luke and Duke. She tried Bruno and Juno, and many others. After each one, the little man said, No, madam, that is not my name. When the queen had tried all the names on her list, she sighed, and the little man went away. The queen ordered the servants and the royal household to ride through the land and collect all the names they could find. They brought her a long list with hundreds of names. When the little man came back the next day, the queen read from her list. After each one, the little man said, No, madam, that is not my name. The queen and her list of names. By this point, the queen was scared. She would have done anything to keep her child. But what could she do? She had tried all the names she knew, and all the names her subjects knew. She was on the verge of crying. Then one of her servants came to her. My lady, said the man with the bow, I have news for you. As I was riding through the forest last night, I saw a campfire. I drew near. Then I saw a funny little man dancing around the fire. As he danced, he sang a little song. Today I brew, tomorrow I bake, and then the fair queen's child I'll take, and no one can deny my claim, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. The queen jumped for joy. She hugged the servant and pressed a bag of coins into his hand. Then she put on her crown and waited for the little man to come. The little man danced around the fire and sang. Then the little man appeared. Now, madam, he said, 3 days have passed. You must tell me my name. If you can't, you must give me the child. The little man began to chuckle at the thought of having the boy to take home with him. The queen acted as if she didn't know the little man's name. She took off her crown and rubbed her brow, as if she were deep in thought. "Is your name Bandy-Legs?" she asked. "No, madam," said the little man as he looked at the sleeping boy. "Is your name Nominees?" the queen asked. "No, madam." "Is it Sheepshanks?" The queen asked the little man about more names. "It's not," said the little man with a smile. "Then perhaps," the queen said with a shrewd look, "perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin." The little man howled. "How did you know that?" "Some witch told you that?" "Some witch told you that?" The little man got red in the face. He stomped his foot so hard that it went right through one of the wooden planks. His leg got stuck in the hole. He had to pull on his leg with both hands to get himself unstuck. All of the queen's servants smiled and giggled. So the little man had to go away without the child, and the queen never feared him again. The little man howled. "How did you know that?" So, we have finished our story today. Hope you liked a lot, and see you next time. Peace out.